morning. I also wanted to alert our audience in the room that we are live streaming on youtube.com at GovLukeWam. So for those of you who weren't able to attend in person, you can watch it on our YouTube live stream. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Monday morning here at the Office of the Governor of Guam for a very special presentation for Typhoon Mawar to be done by the American Red Cross. Before we begin, though, I want to acknowledge the presence of our Honorable Lourdes A. Leon Guerrero Magahagan Guahan, Governor of Guam. And to her left, First Gentleman and attorney and former chairman of the board, almost said president, First Gentleman Jeffrey Cook. And to his left, we have Mr. Marcus Fong, president of the board, and we'll be introducing the rest of his board members in a short minute. Give him a round of applause. To the right of our governor, we have the executive director for the American Red Cross. This is Ms. Chita Blaze. And rounding out our table are our various island mayors. We see Senahanya, Himata, Kagatnya, Inalahan, and MTM joining us. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to acknowledge the various business leaders I do see in the audience this morning. Let's give them a round of applause. And I also wanted to acknowledge the presence of the Governor's Summer Youth Employment Program. Our employees today, they're on this side of the wall. The Office of the Governor has 17 of them that will be working with us in the next 5 weeks. So a lot of labor here. They'll be observing today's event.
No, they're going to be in the various departments.
They'll be here assigned to the Office of the Governor for the next 5 weeks as a part of the Governor's Summer Youth Employment Program. I now want to give the floor to Ms. Chita Blaze, who's going to go ahead and introduce her board.
Thank you, Crystal. I would like to introduce my board members. I'm very proud of my board members, although all of them are not here today. But first we have, of course, Marcus Fong. He is the chairman of the board. We have Caroline Sablan from the Bank of Guam, and Mr. George Takagi, Jay Shad, and Visitset Pongsatorn from Mobile Oil, and Rose Grino from FHP Take Care, and Monica Dueñas, of course, and everybody knows Monica Dueñas because of Mezcla. And of course, my hardworking sidekick, COO, Sandra Ramiro. And we have, last but not least, James Herbert from the Triple J Enterprises. So this is only a few of my board members. I have a 16-member board, but everything, all of them are all hardworking and very hands-on. So, but I'm so happy to see them here today. Thank you. And now I'm going to turn the microphone to my chairman, Marcus.
Thank you. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning.
First Gentleman. Members of the administration, government, and community partners. As Crystal and Chita mentioned, my name is Marcus Fong. I'm here today on behalf of the board, my fellow board members here, of the Guam chapter of the American Red Cross. I have the privilege today of presenting a report compiled by the American Red Cross National Headquarters detailing the organization's response to last year's Typhoon Mawar. So at the conclusion of every major disaster operation, the regional and national leadership conduct a post-incident assessment to reflect on the successes and opportunities for future operations. And I would like to share a few of those highlights from that report today. So by way of background, on May 20th, 2023, the Joint Information Center issued the first of many releases related to then Disturbance 97W. Indications at the time showed that the storm was intensifying and making a pathway to the Marianas, though its trajectory at the time was uncertain. By May 23rd, it was evident that a close to direct passage over Guam was likely, and eventually the closest point of approach happened on the evening of May 24th. Due to the storm's slow movement, the all clear to condition of readiness 4 was not given until 5 p.m. the following day. And by then, it was clear that this was one of the strongest storms to have hit Guam since Typhoon Pongsonhua in 2002. But the work of the Red Cross starts well before the onset of a disaster. Our local chapter maintains a warehouse of emergency supplies on island, and disaster volunteers are either forward deployed or positioned on standby for immediate response. So within 72 hours of the storm's passing, a small contingent of Red Cross volunteers were already on board a C-130 military transport from Honolulu, before our commercial airport was able to receive any inbound flights. Shortly thereafter, local and inbound Red Cross leadership set up a command center inside the Hilton Resort and Spa, one of the few places on the island at the time with electricity and running water. This is the power of the Red Cross. Of course, we were not immune to the challenges on the ground, including access to roads, the fuel shortage, and reliable communications. But over the following weeks, close to 300 volunteers from around the Pacific region and nationwide would come to Guam to complement our local volunteers. And aside from the disaster assistance to families, the Red Cross was also asked to support sheltering and feeding, something that our chapter has not done before. But without hesitation, subject matter experts were flown in to provide support on those fronts. But it is the heroism of our local Guam volunteers, some of whom are here today, that really led the charge. Volunteers like Ellery Paz, a teacher who was moved by the work of the Red Cross, later assigned to assist with shelter residents, and eventually oversaw the distribution of emergency supplies to our villages. The disaster operation continued into August, and when all was said and done, the American Red Cross Guam chapter provided recovery support to over 27,000 individuals, including financial assistance. We also provided over 342,000 meals and snacks with the help of our community restaurant partners, and provided more than 30,000 overnight stays. I personally know acquaintances, friends, and employees who have been helped by the Red Cross. And as a resident of Guam, I am thankful that such support was available for our neighbors. As a member of this great organization, I could not be more proud. Guam and our neighbors around the Pacific region answered the call for fundraising as well, collecting over $1.5 million, an impressive showing for a community our size, even by national standards. As the dust settles today on the disaster operations, national headquarters reports that over $13 million was spent in support of Guam's recovery from Typhoon Mawar. None of this would have been possible without the strong public partnership with the local and federal government agencies. I will hand it off to Cheetah to share her perspective from the ground, as she was the local liaison for the disaster operations team. But before I do, I'd like to reiterate our commitment of the American Red Cross in supporting Guam during both blue skies and gray skies. And on that note, I'd also like to mention that our 22nd annual Red Ball, our largest fundraising event and most important fundraiser, will be held this year on September 28th. More information on that will be available in the coming weeks, and we ask for the community's generosity once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcos. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Governor, for this opportunity this morning to present to you the American Red Cross one-year Mawar report. Today, we stand united in the face of adversity, bound by a shared experience that has tested our resilience and strength. In the wake of our recent disaster that struck our island a year ago, we have witnessed unparalleled support, compassion, and solidarity from every corner. First and foremost, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed Governor, Lulian Guerrero. Your swift response, decisive leadership, and unwavering commitment have been pillars of strength during these trying times. Your presence has been a beacon of hope, guiding us through the darkness with assurance and empathy. The resources you have mobilized have been crucial in our recovery efforts, and for this we are truly grateful. The public works buses and drivers that you mobilized were godsend in delivering meals to the victims of Mawar. To the dedicated teams of emergency responders, Guam Homeland Security under the leadership of former Adjutant General Esther Adigi and her entire team, all of the 19 village mayors under the leadership of Mayor Jesse Ali, and we have Mayor Hoffman here representing, the hardworking, dedicated Red Cross volunteers working long hours, last but not least, our very small staff working 24/7 for almost 2 months, making sure that all lines of services were covered. To the residents of our community, you have shown remarkable resilience and courage in the face of loss and devastation. You have come together, supporting one another with kindness and compassion. For example, we will remain grateful to the CEO of the Bank of Guam, Kim Cook, and the Executive Vice President Maria Eugenia Leon Guerrero in taking the lead in raising much needed funds to support the victims of Mawar. Your spirit of togetherness is the foundation upon which we will rebuild and emerge stronger. In closing, we would like to express our deepest thanks to everyone who has played a part in our recovery. Your collective efforts have brought hope and light to our community in its darkest hour. Together we will rebuild, renew, and rise again. The American Red Cross will stay committed to the community because help can't wait. Thank you very much. Yes.
And is there some type of presentation or?
Well, this gathering today is strictly to present to the governor the 1-year report after the devastating Mawar a year ago. So we're here to show our gratitude, and it's not a question of if, but when. It'll happen again, and I know you will be there. Thank you, and all the mayors. Thank you so much, and the volunteers who have really been committed to serve the American Red Cross in helping us fulfill our mission of preventing these disasters. And all of a sudden, I forgot my mission. So well, all of a sudden, to alleviate suffering in the face of emergencies. How's that? Got it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause. We do have members of the media here this morning, but before that, I do want to give the floor maybe to our governor for some brief remarks in response to their report.
Thank you very much, Marcus, and your board members, and also my husband, who has been with Red Cross since I think we arrived in Guam. Oh, in person. And also Cheetah for, your very innovative resources also of people, and to keep the presence of the American Red Cross very visible in our island, not just during emergencies, but even without emergencies, like Marcus said, blue skies or gray skies. And I know that you offer also a lot of other very important life-saving services, very humanitarian services throughout the many, many years that the Red Cross has been on island. I think over 100 years, 106 years. And so, when people are faced with emergencies, they are very scared. People are very scared. They're scared for their lives. They're scared for their properties. They're scared for their safety. They're scared about, where am I going to get my next meal? What am I going to do? My house is falling apart. It has been devastated by the strong winds of the typhoon. But American Red Cross always comes to give them a piece of calmness and a piece of security and a piece of direction. And a piece of confidence that we are here to provide you for your necessary needs. And I have had the pleasure of working with your local people. And believe me, we were very hands-on because we visited those shelters. We made sure that, people were comfortable. The many challenges we had to go through to find the proper places and the innovative and creative ways that the community came out together. And I'll tell you, this is the uniqueness of our island people here in Guam. And it's certainly the very, very strong value and tradition of lifting each other up, not just in times of need, but also in times of those areas where there are tragic and humanitarian needs. And I have had the pleasure of meeting with those that are in the upper levels of the Red Cross that came over. I forget all their names, but they certainly were meeting with us as a group every week on Tuesday. And every week on Tuesday, we would gather all the key players in dealing with the emergency. GPA, GWA, the wastewaters, the schools, healthcare, and FEMA and Red Cross was a very strong player and very visible in that whole comprehensive movement to really help our people. And I see these numbers, and they're very, very impressive numbers. And that's why, Marcus, I think our people are generous, because they know that they will get back their investment of their money. And certainly I know that we haven't had a major typhoon for 20 years, but when the time came, people, I would say people all over the world came and helped us. And we do the same too in other disasters, in other countries, in other parts of the world, that I know we send our people there. And the strength I feel in their success is, of course, the volunteers. The volunteers who are very compassionate, very dedicated, very committed. We have a very, I think, innate nature, right, of helping those that are in need, like you said, alleviate the sufferings during times of emergency. And I just want to say thank you to all of our private sector partners, our public sector partners, our community partners, our religious partners, our mayors. Mayors were right there in the front line. They were being faced with all the concerns of our people, and we came to the rescue in many forms, through nonprofit organizations, to federal, through Red Cross, through FEMA, through religious even, and a lot of donations and contributions that people did without being asked, really without being asked. And I just say that I would never live in another place other than Guam, because we still hold that very tradition of love and caring to each other. And so I just want to say thank you for all of that. And you know, there are no words to really express my deepest gratitude and appreciation in those times when I was very nervous about the lives of our people. And you, all of you, came to the rescue to make that stress a little bit less. And believe me, there were many challenges that we had to face with. Many challenges, from telecommunications to water, power, but I just want to say that our government services came to the task. And I do know that we recovered quicker in this time around, because we have hardened our infrastructures. And we will continue to harden our infrastructure so that right after typhoons, we can deliver energy to our people. We can deliver water to our people. We can deliver all the essentials to our people. And that's what our government is working very closely to do. And of course, Red Cross is a key player in all of that. So I just want to say thank you from a grateful island and a grateful people, our people of Guam, for all that you do. And believe me, you will continue to have our support in whatever ways we can to continue bringing that help to the doorsteps of our people and to the children of our people and to the families, because that's what we are about. We are about families, and at the end of the day, all our work is about lifting the quality of life of every people on island so that they continue to be in a safe, prosperous environment. And I just want to say American Red Cross is a key, essential player in all of that. So thank you so much. And we'll continue. Of course, we're not going anywhere.
No, I'm not.
And all of the leadership from the board, right, and all the hard work from the staff and management, it just brings tears of joy to us when we think about it during tragic situations where it's needed the most. So, I will be at your September 28th, and believe me, we'll rally to get people there. Thank you again, Sidus Masi.
Board members want to say something.
Okay, go.
Stand by, sir. Let me get you a microphone.
This is Jay Shed.
Yes,
He's the chair of my golf tournament that's coming up on Saturday.
that's what I wanted to say. That, even though we raised a lot of money for the Typhoon Mawar, we also are still raising money, and this one will be a fun thing, a golf tournament on Saturday at Finest Golf Course. So please attend. It goes to a good cause. Thank you.
It's in fundraising mode, by the way. I mean, 13 million, we only raised 1.7, but that's a lot for a population base that we have. So we're grateful. As we speak today, American Red Cross is having a meeting in Los Angeles. I should have been there, but I said, no, I can't because I have this. But talk about the same thing, the report for Mawar. So I am well represented by one of our star volunteers, Ellery. So he's the one who's representing the American Red Cross Guam chapter. So I'm just forever grateful. I mean, it is not easy to lead a non-profit organization, especially on Guam because we are so small, and then I have to compete with some 800 non-profit organizations. So I always have to be in their faces. And then when they see me, they want to run away because
When they see you, they take their pocketbook. Never mind, don't ask, here's my money.
Ms. Chida, let's give a round of applause for Red Cross volunteers. I did not. We do have our media joining us this morning as requested by Ms. Chida Blaze. Do any of our members of the media have any questions relative to today's report on Typhoon Mawar? We do have Naina from KPRG, I do see PDN and the Post joining us.
Yeah, hi. My name is Naina. I'm from KPRG. Guam's public radio station. I had 3 questions. First, a quick clarification. Is it more than 380 volunteers or nearly 300? Because in the first page, it says over 380 volunteers from nearly every Red Cross region outside of the Pacific Islands supported the relief operation. But in the second page, it said 2 weeks after Mawar hit Guam, nearly 300 Red Cross had arrived.
I think about 300, I would say.
About 300.
The first one, yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And then I know 13 million was mentioned
Yeah, that
through
was the amount that was spent here.
through local and federal partnership or from the feds?
No, there's no federal,
Okay. No.
there's national, there's
Got it.
American Red Cross,
Got it.
headquarters.
Okay.
And the local chapter.
Got it.
So the
Okay.
local chapter raised 1.7 million.
Okay. And in the flyer too, it said physical and mental health services
Yes.
were provided. Could you give examples of that?
Well, after I will ask our volunteer, Jen, she's
I'm Jen. I'm a Red Cross volunteer. I'm actually the lead for disaster health services here on Guam. So we did have a mission of the mental and health needs, but when we opened up a shelter, that is one of the requirements. So once the need was requested, then they flew in also mental health and all kinds of health services, but we mainly do taking care of the shelter and staff and volunteer. Right. So yes, we had people flowing in as well.
Provided counseling.
Yes, we had spiritual care and mental like that mental health care workers. So not just mental health, but also spiritual workers came to Guam to help.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any further questions? Nope.
Joe, PDN, you have any questions?
Morning, everybody. Joe Taitano from the PDN. I was wondering, for the Red Cross team, what were some of the big learning lessons? It was 20 years between Pong Song Hwa and Moar, and what were some of the takeaways? Maybe, hey, we did a really good job of this, or we weren't expecting this, and we could do this next time.
Well, 20 years is a long time now to have a disaster. I think it's more than 20 years. I have to say, we were kind of like a practice. But it doesn't take long for us to just get it ready. But it is. It's kind of like you become complacent. Oh, we're not gonna have it, and so. But the Red Cross is always very on top of things, very proactive. Even before landfall, some of the volunteers from the Red Cross were already here, so they anticipated that it was going to be a bad one. So it doesn't take long for us to do our thing, but yeah, we were complacent after 22 years. And so now we're ready, because we just had one last year, so if anything happens now.
It's been declared.
I was saying I'm getting too old for this.
I had SARS, measles, dengue, natural, typhoid, disaster. And then I have one, but I won't mention what that one is.
So, I just want to say, one of the things Red Cross is always doing is training. So it's always training people so they are ready.
Yes.
Even though it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Even though it's been 20 years, there's always training going on. And it's that training that makes it where people are ready to come out and help. Correct.
And to add to that, the work doesn't just begin and end when there is a typhoon or disaster for the American Red Cross Guam chapter. They are, the team is constantly working with the training, health and safety, babysitting, the service of the armed forces. There are other disasters such as house fires and those are also addressed with our chapter. So I wanted to really stress that it's not just during the storm that the Red Cross chapter and team is active. It's year round. And I've served on the board now for 20 years. It's been 20 years and
Is it really?
Yes.
Doesn't seem that long.
Yes. Jeff, way longer.
Yeah.
But
I also wanted to add for Joe that FEMA, who is also the Federal Emergency Management Assistance, when they come to these disasters, they work very closely with the American Red Cross. They're almost like one united together.
Yeah.
So FEMA knows the rules and criteria and stuff, which Red Cross is very lax in their rules. And Red Cross knows FEMA. So, if there are challenges, I think the fact that the two entities with the local community just gelled really well. Of course, there were some issues that needed to be taken care of, but they worked very closely to resolve some of those issues.
Do you have any more questions, Joe?
And the other thing I wanted to ask is a big part of the Red Cross effort was the shelter and helping all those people who were left homeless. What was the final tally of people who ended up in the shelter who had long-term housing needs, and what ended up happening?
All I know for a fact is that the Red Cross volunteers were with the shelterees, and they did not leave that shelter until everybody had a place to go home to. So some of them we had to house temporarily because we do not provide that service. But in particular, there was one handicapped individual on a wheelchair that they had to look for a place for him to stay because we had to close the shelter. So, and another thing that we did for the first time ever, Governor, is feeding. We don't normally do feeding, but because we were requested to do so, and yes, we did it. And I have to thank all the vendors that we work with, and that is what is so nice. You were just talking about how kind the community is. Without questions asked, I just call the vendor and say, hey, we need to feed 1,000 for lunch. When? I said, today. But done. Didn't say, oh, when are we gonna get paid? They don't. They just all come together whenever there's a big disaster like that, or not even. They're just naturally kind, and that is just such a big plus for the Guam community. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. Any other questions from members of the media? If not, I'm going to go ahead and give the microphone now to Mayor Hoffman of Sinahanya for closing remarks.
Hoffman, thank you. I got this one. On behalf of the Mayor's Council, I just want to thank the national organization and the local organization for your assistance to our communities. I know that prior to the disaster, I did meet with Ambrose and the rest of the team, and they were already there looking for a place that they can do distribution, the point distribution. We were happy to help and host you. I do want to say that a lot of the people who did come from the states who responded to the call, all of us mayors, we actually ended up forming great relationships with them. We send each other chocolates now and postcards. They send us photos and stuff. So they really enjoyed themselves here, and we really enjoyed having them. They really made an impact on our people. So there's a great bond. So that's something above that. And the Red Cross, like you mentioned, Monica, is more than just a disaster. The fires that occur in our villages, the response of the Red Cross, thank you. At any hour when we call and we ask, you guys are there. So that's a great thing, and the community needs to know that. So when you do donate to the Red Cross and to those fire victims, it really helps, because when you don't even know what's happening. You're in this trauma and this state of shock as your house and your belongings go on fire. So you guys are there to lend a hand and lend an ear and just lend a hug sometimes. It's just letting them know they're going to be okay. So thank you for that. And then one of the things that we did ask, and it's not a criticism, but we always want to work to get better, is on the distribution networks. If, a lot of things that we were always asked is a lot of the employees who got called to work to help reopen the island and get things, they're like, I can't get my stuff from the Red Cross because I'm not home. So if we can figure out a way to help local employers get those stuff to those employees, because they were manning the gas stations, they were at the stores, they were trying to open everything. And the first thing they said to me, Mayor, I'm not home. They're going door to door and I'm not home. I'm gonna miss. I'm like, oh, let me see if I can get from them and ask them. So if that's something that we can always work to get better, because even us on our end, even with FEMA on their end, the local employers need to find a way to find their employees to give that peace of mind so they can do the best job at their level, because we really want to care about the employee in that small business. So that's something we're going to work with you to get better on that, and that's something we'll carve out. So you have the Southern Baptist Response Group, you have the people working on the field, but maybe something that we can work in tandem with the Chamber of Commerce or the other folks to say, hey, employers, don't worry about it. Your employees can go to work and get we'll help their families on that end. So thank you so much, and we appreciate all that you do. So Sidos Masi.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this beautiful Monday morning. I look forward to seeing many of you again at 3 p.m. for our press conference to announce the events surrounding our 80th Guam Liberation. Have a great day, and thank you so much to the American Red Cross and to our volunteers for all that you do. Yes, we will now gather to the front for a group photo. This will conclude our live